This is a warning to all Americans and people all over the globe. Now, what I'm about to share with you is what I am doing. I want you to do your own research. I told people in 2020 banks were going to custody your crypto by 2025. It's official. I told everybody when SEC sued Ripple, Ripple would beat the SEC, and XRP would be one of the most disruptive cryptocurrencies in the world. It happened. And now what I'm about to tell you, it's important that you watch this whole video.
Hello family, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. On this episode, we'll be watching different reaction videos, a message to Americans. Many people both around the world and citizens of USA feel like United States isn't heading on the right directions. It's a warning. Let's watch carefully.
Because if you understand this part of the game, you could be the one in your family to radically transform your family's wealth timeline. But always remember, wealth is here. It's always present. There's nothing to chase. But being a human being in this physical world, there is a game that's being played. And unfortunately, you're the victim of it. We swing from the left, we go back to the right. All have self-interest. Trump has self-interest. The left has self-interest. But the self-interest has changed in a very dramatic way. We went from deep left, where it's politicians, career politicians, not business owners, career politicians, that would do or say anything for wealth. And it flipped, boom, to a businessman, not a politician, running the country, who also has self-interest. Everybody does. The difference is the self-interest gives you the potential to finally build wealth. And it's actually going to give the middle class and the working class the opportunity, if they pay attention, over the next 4 years, to actually get a piece of Wall Street. You see, the truth is that those sweeping tariffs, very people that are protesting against Trump destroying the economy, it didn't actually hurt them. The top 10% own 88% of the stock market. The top 10% wealth owns 88% of the stock market. What Trump actually did with the tariffs destroyed the wealthy. It pushed money out of the stock market into treasuries, which forces Jerome Powell to make a decision much sooner about lowering interest rates, and that helps the working class. It helps the middle class. And these sweeping tariffs was very strategic. He told you 7 years ago, we're going to be on an even playing field monetarily before we know it. And then he thought he was going to win the presidency, and he didn't. He had 4 years to plan this out. This is very, very planned out, and this was very strategic. So he comes on Liberation Day, April 2nd, 2025, and throws sweeping tariffs. He knew exactly what was going to happen. He knew the stock market was going to dump. He knew it was going to flood into treasuries. He knew that that would force Jerome Powell, who is not federal nor reserve, to make some decisions. He knew that would back China in a corner, force countries to negotiate. So he created a visceral response. And about 48 hours later, he's like, well, I'll give everybody 90 days. So he wanted to see how everybody reacted. He saw all the countries flooding in to work with US. He's like, okay, I'll give you all guys all 90 days now. So you're about to see May, June, July negotiations. All that dust is going to start to settle. See manufacturing pouring into America, auto, oil. I mean, it's just going to pile into America. And then you're going to see a paradigm shift. And this is where you can get involved. This is what we did. We saw this very early in 2020. This allowed us to become millionaire investors. I was very strategic when I profited from this cryptocurrency industry, and we built $1 million ecosystems outside by inverting everything. Remember, everything you're hearing in the media is being fed by some of the wealthiest companies in the world. What you're seeing right now, write this down. You're moving from an inflationary economy, the dollar, that every single year, if you don't get a 2% raise, you become poor. The dollar has zero value other than our belief in it. We are the most dominant currency. The whole world is effed financially. They're all over leveraged. China is destroyed in their economy. America is over leveraged. It has to change. It's not will it, it has to change. So what Trump has taken us from is an inflationary US dollar. They're moving us into a deflationary cryptocurrency and blockchain environment. Now, it has to change though. Banks are operating on a DOS system. We're moving to a blockchain, DLT, distributed ledger technology, on-demand liquidity. It's just a system change. It's not that conspiratorial. Kids won't even know what cash is. So just take the middle ground when you listen to this without emotion and bias. So he's moving us into deflationary. They have this thing that was created in 2009 by the Satoshi that we don't know who it is, that happens to be the very thing that can switch and shrink the American balance sheet in half by 2045. So deflationary means it becomes more valuable every year. Moving from a dollar that becomes less valuable to deflationary, which becomes more valuable. Now here's where the middle class and the working class have an opportunity, as we're in speculation and regulation phase. We got rich off speculation phase. Now people are going to get really wealthy off speculation regulation phase, but when adoption phase hits, that's when everybody comes rushing in. There's this huge price appreciation that we got in between those two. So we're betting on things like Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, Solana, ADA, HBAR. These are all things that are infrastructural changes. We're transmuting from physical gold to digital gold, Bitcoin. We're transmuting from slow, archaic, nostrovostral banking system to a fast, quick, XRP-like system. What Trump is doing is he's a businessman. He has self-interest. Him and his sons are deeply invested in crypto. They have their own DeFi platform, World Liberty Financial. What we're doing is we're buying these dips. We're dollar cost averaging in. So you gotta get out of this noise, guys. This game has always been the same. Didn't they have us drunk in the Colosseum when the Trojan horse came in? Drunk off the wine? Didn't Jesus come back humbled on a donkey and flip over the money changers and said, "You turned my synagogue into a den of thieves"? And he wasn't in the churches. He was walking from village to village. And if they said they don't listen to you, just keep moving. He was in the middle ground. He inverted everything on everybody. And here's another thing for you all that are still here. This is spiritual too. We're in the age of Aquarius. Whether you believe me or not, whether you're religious, spiritual, doesn't matter. Religious people call it the rapture. Spiritual people call it the Great Awakening, whatever you want to call it. The old economy, the old politicians, the old energy cannot survive in this new wave of energy. This new energy is cooperation, connectivity, support, unconditional love, and authenticity. Guess what? Crypto can provide all of that. Take a deep breath. Stop scrolling aimlessly. Scroll purposely on social. Study at least 20 minutes a day. Do your own research. Stop believing skeptical people. They're always the most broke. And the person talking the most is doing the least. You don't need 2 cars. You don't need the boat and the ATV right now, and you can't even invest. Americans don't have a money problem. We have a priority problem. Borrowed so much against our future selves, we can't even breathe. Get down to debts and non-negotiables. Humble yourself for a couple years. Take that extra cash and learn how to invest. And I promise you'll come back to this video and you'll see that if you lock and load and you really dial in, you could be the one that transform your family life. So don't get caught in this noise. Everything moves in a wave of energy, and it's going to be remarkable. So I love you guys. I appreciate you.
So April 20th is the day that we're going to find out if Donald Trump is going to implement martial law in the United States of America. You remember on day 1, he signed an order instructing his Department of Defense and Homeland Security to spend the next 90 days analyzing the situation at the border and to determine whether or not he should enact the Insurrection Act. Well, that date is only a few days away, and what's even more concerning about this is that the day before, on the 19th, there is going to be another mass protest against Donald Trump. And it would not surprise me one bit if people like Elon Musk and some of the other financial backers from the Heritage Foundation and groups like that who support Donald Trump and who are trying to transform the United States, that they send people in to cause problems so that they can have these protests break out in violence, so that it gives them even a stronger reason to bring in martial law on the 20th. But that day is coming, folks, and that will be the last domino to fall, and it will be the end of the Republic as we know it. We know that this is the plan. This is what the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025 has been wanting to do, longing to do, to fundamentally transform America into some kind of religious-controlled, white nationalist Christian nation. We are heading down that path, and on April 20th, we will find out what Donald Trump is going to do with this. But considering that he wants to spend $100 million on a military parade for his birthday like they do in North Korea, and considering all the other things that he's already done, and how he doesn't give 2 shits about the Justice Department or court orders, I think it's safe to assume that he will enact martial law. Between them crashing the economy, sending people to El Salvadorian prisons, deporting people who are here legally. This is like the final nail in the coffin. So for those of you planning on getting out there and marching on the 19th, be vigilant, keep an eye out. Do not partake in the violence that the MAGA movement, the Trump supporters, and those coming in to set off violence. If you feed into that, and if it gets out of hand, it's just going to increase the odds of Donald Trump issuing martial law in the United States. And once he does that, all the dominoes are gone, and he's just left with unchecked power. We probably wouldn't even have elections in the midterms. So be safe, be vigilant. So please like and share this video, get the word out, because news has been coming out of this White House every single day. So a lot of people have forgotten about this whole martial law thing and the Insurrection Act of Donald Trump. So please share it as much as you can. We need people to remember and to be vigilant.
Why should April 20th matter to you? Yes, it's 420, and God knows we all have reason to be stoned this year and spent a few hours forgetting this administration. But on January 20th, 2025, when news outlets were covering Trump's inauguration, something very important was happening in a back room. He signed an executive order. I know, he does this probably more than he changes his underwear, but why is this one important? Because it declared a national emergency at the southern border, and it gave the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security 90 days to report together on whether the president should invoke the Insurrection Act. 90 days from January 20th is April 20th. But let's back up. What's the Insurrection Act? It's an act that was passed in 1807 that gives the president the right to deploy U.S. troops on American soil in our cities. The president gets to do this, leapfrogging the governors and mayors and even protesters. It means democracy takes a backseat to authoritarianism, while the administration pretends that they are trying to restore order. Okay, I get it. You think I'm overreacting. But am I? Because Trump already did this. In June 2020, after George Floyd was murdered and millions of Americans took to the streets in protest, what did Trump do? I'll give you a guess, and the answer was not allow for peaceful protest and empathy. Instead, he tried to invoke the Insurrection Act. When the military said nope, he sent federal forces to break up peaceful protests in D.C. so he could have a photo op holding an upside-down Bible in front of a church. He was so pissed off that the generals wouldn't bow to his wishes that he found a way around it. This time, he's making sure that he doesn't have to. Trump has installed cronies in every position that would normally serve as a check and balance to the executive branch. Instead of a military that upholds the Constitution rather than the president, we have Pete Hegseth, the guy spilling war plans over on Signal. We have Tulsi Gabbard oxymoronically heading up intelligence. And of course, J.D. Vance, the Veep, who can't get anyone in Greenland to listen to him, is down with the military using force against Americans. In fact, on March 19th, 1 month before this Insurrection Act deadline, these three went to the southern border and they did a photo op. There was no other reason for them to be there. Nothing political, no routine visit, just a photo op for the media by the Defense Secretary, the VP, and the head of military intelligence. Why? Because this has never been about immigration, but rather about absolute power. They were starting to braid the threads that will, in a month, become the story that gives them a reason to invoke the Insurrection Act when there's no actual insurrection. What will they say? Look, we had to do it. This is a disaster of enormous proportions. Why do you think we were all there monitoring it? So let's say that April 20th comes and the Department of Defense and the Department of Homeland Security, now run by Trump loyalists, tell the president that he can invoke the Insurrection Act. Then what? Well, Trump continues to lie, of course. He'll tell the media that blue Democratic cities are under siege by the radical left and illegal immigrants. I wouldn't be surprised if he uses the millions that turned out this past weekend in protest to prove his point. He signs the Insurrection Act. He sends the military to places like Boston, New York, Chicago. Protesters get arrested because the military is allowed to do that under the Insurrection Act. The media is told to stand down or face consequences. Even more immigrants are rounded up and put in holding centers. And the public? The public is told to shut up or face retribution. And it's all perfectly legal because of the Insurrection Act. Now, if you think that the military won't do this, or that the courts will stop Trump, think again. The National Guard was sent in when the military wouldn't go during the George Floyd protests. The courts didn't stop January 6th from happening. They could only prosecute after the fact, and even then, those who were jailed have already been pardoned. April 20th is coming, And Trump is going to say that the Insurrection Act is really a terrible, terrible thing, but he has to do it to save America. What he's really doing is saving power for himself. Fascism doesn't come with goose-stepping soldiers. It comes with orders signed in back rooms, loyalists who care only about their own status in the administration, and citizens who are too scared to speak out. So what do? Well, it's not April 20th yet. So call your representatives today and ask them to investigate Trump's January 20th executive order. Contact the media and tell them to report on the Insurrection Act. Tell everyone you know about this and ask them to tell 5 more people and to call their reps too. Trump is assuming we won't know what he's done until it's after April 20th and too late. Oh, by the way, guess what else is April 20th? Hitler's birthday.
Hello. If you are in the northeastern United States or anywhere that is provided grid supply by Canada, please stop scrolling. Within a shorter time and longer, I'm asking you to seriously consider starting to prepare in case we lose power, water, heat, etc. for an unknown period of time. Given the political tensions present at this time, with them seeming to get worse at every report, I urge you all to make sure that you have charged any portable chargers, gotten blankets or coats from storage if needed, bought supplies for safe drinking water and food, non-perishables, get space heaters, radios, batteries, etc. Anything you may need as basic necessities, given our supply is cut. Get any medications, first aid supplies, anything. This matter is serious, no matter what party you belong to. Keep yourselves and your families safe. If you watched this far, thank you, and God bless.
Some US citizens still don't get it. Overnight I have received more sneers and smears by, thankfully, a tiny minority of American commenters since blocked, displaying their anger, real anger, at the idea that the rest of the world might boycott Things USA. Some could not comprehend, just could not believe that we could do without not only American products and services, but also live without American culture. One commenter even suggesting that I might not be able to cope without the Super Bowl. So let me remind this tiny minority that Australia, the rest of the Commonwealth, the rest of the world, is not America, and nor do we want to be. In Australia, we believe in the fair go, not dog eat dog. We believe in mateship, community and connection, not American isolationism, nationalism and exceptionalism. We believe in self-deprecation, not self-aggrandizement. We do not judge someone by how much money they earn, but how much respect they earn as decent blokes and Sheilas and neithers and in-betweens, and pay people a livable minimum wage. You are right to shame us in our treatment of Indigenous Australians. Trump-style politics played a major role in defeating a reform that would have been a good start in redressing that shame. In Australia, we enjoy freedom from guns, from your mass shootings that happen every week. And when one of our number gets ill, we all chip in through our taxpayer dollars to help them get better, not bankrupt. And if we must talk about football, our football is free-flowing and non-stop without the protection that I gather American footballers must wear. Apparently, so I hear. Our humour is dry, subtle and sarcastic, not loud and obvious. And our coffees are refined, fresh, boutique and varied, not whatever it is that you call coffee. So on these aspects of American culture, at least, we'll do just fine without them.
Have you checked on your American friends lately? Because we're not okay. The past 10 days has felt like a year. For so many of us right now, we cannot keep up with all of these horrific executive orders coming down hour after hour, day after day in the first 10 days. Add to that the first commercial plane crash in over a dozen years, claiming the lives of everyone involved. It is genuinely looking bleak over here. For a lot of us, we are doing our best not to have our spirits crushed. And as somebody who works in mental health, I can tell you this feels like COVID all over again. It is my job to help other people day in and day out. And I'm struggling. And I know I am not the only one in this position. Healthcare providers in this country are struggling. I know we have so many allies all over the world, and we appreciate it so immensely. And there are so many things that I wish we could take a page from you right now, because in this country, we are going sideways so fast, and many of us do not know what to do to stop it. Thank you for listening. I needed to get that off my chest. Please go ahead and follow me on my other platforms in case this ever gets banned again in America. Go figure.
Oh, you voted for Trump and now you're starting to regret it? Come here, let me give you a hug. Real talk, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to welcome you. And this message is as much for my liberal friends as anyone else. I know you're scared. I know you're frustrated. I am too. But we won't make progress unless and until we start extending the kindness and humanity we hold up as our values. Let's join hands and make America normal again. The goat rodeo that is happening in the Oval Office right now is deliberately designed to put us on the back foot and distract us so that we show up to 2028 unprepared. Keep your eyes on the prize. We need to pick a candidate now and plaster them all over every news station, just like he's doing, so he doesn't stay ahead of us. We need to unite and mobilize, whether you're left, center, or maybe you're conservative and you're sick of his shit too. We need to change our messaging, be more welcoming, and get prepared, because that is the only way we will win.
Listen, I'm just here to issue a warning to any Americans who are following World Talk or Euro Talk or Global Talk, that when you hear our international brothers and sisters speaking English, it is going to sound so much better coming out of their mouths than yours. You are going to see videos of them like stepping out of their house and seeing the Northern Lights. I mean, what the fuck? You're going to see them walking down the street to their local little bakery, and it's going to be the cutest damn bakery you've ever seen, and they're going to have the flakiest pastries you've ever seen in your whole life. They're going to show you architecture from like the 17th century. Meanwhile, we're like, look, this was built in 1982. You're going to see bluffs and cliffs and meadows and snow-capped mountains, like all the landscapes. And all this beautiful food, right? Like totally homemade. All this to say that you think America is the greatest country? Well, fuck that.
Having watched the messages above from the videos, it clearly shows majority agree United States isn't heading on the right directions. What do you think about this statement? Let me know what you think on the comment section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you.